All right. So, hi, my name is Daniel Starry, and I'm joined here today by my good friend Nick Matsky. He is my bassist in Polite Strangers. That's our little band here in Green Bay. So, welcome, Nick.
It's great to be here. I'm Nick, first-time podcaster.
First time. All right. Well, I'm glad I was here for your first time.
Yep.
Cheers to that. All right. So I want to talk about, and I said this before, I'd like to talk about what got us into music, and then we could even start. How about we just talk about how we met each other? So
Okay, I think I remember.
when you meet people at bars, you're kind of like, oh, I think I know how it went down. So we have this local joint in Green Bay called Frets and Friends, and great venue. It's really small, hole in the wall. Like a lot of like old regulars go there and stuff. It used to be called IQs and probably something else before that. But it's just a hip little joint. A bunch of people come over, and then they started doing open mics on Wednesday nights. So the way it actually happened was I was sort of involved in the music scene, but not a lot when I was younger. And then I left Green Bay for a while to kind of do new things. I went to college stuff. Then I moved back to Green Bay. So when I finally get back, I had talked to Alex, the bass player of
The house band
the house band.
of Frets.
But he's in probably one or two bands in town. I can't remember which ones.
He's in musicians in Green Bay, they're like it's like a big community of like, hey, can you come in here and sub for this gig, for this gig?
Exactly.
He's officially, I know he's in one band, and that's the Chocolatiers, which is a Green Bay local band as well that does original music and a lot of covers, and they play a lot of gigs around here.
Yeah. So I met Alex I don't know what year it was. I was like 21 years old, okay? I just started like being able to go out to bars and drink.
Okay, how old are you now?
I'm 30. So this was 9 years
So I'd be
ago.
19 and you'd be 21.
We're going way back. So I was 21 years old. I worked at Hagemeister, and then I had coworkers be like, "Oh, we're gonna go down to Adams Street, and they have like a little open jam thing." Nobody in Adams Street, by the way. There's like 3 people at the bar, and then there's a few people playing, and Alex Kinsetter, no joke, is like playing bass there. And at that time, he had like hair down to here, no facial hair.
Okay.
He looked like a surfer dude from California, but he's just a little bit bigger, so it's kind of funny. But he's so smiley. He's the coolest guy ever. Anyways, I'm playing like Green Day tunes with him and some other guy for a little bit, and then when I finally did come back to town several years later, I hit up Alex. I said, I know you've been active and you keep doing open mics in the Green Bay scene. Where's the place to be? So he goes, there's an open mic Wednesday nights. Come over to Frets and Friends. So I show up at Frets, and then I'm asking around. I'm like, I'm trying to start up a band. Like, who do I talk to? Like, who's looking to be in a band? And then someone said, well, Nick Matsky shows up here a lot, and he plays bass. And I think Ned Lefebvre does drums. So I was like, okay, show me where these people are. So then that's how I started talking to you guys. And I don't remember how I introduced myself, but I was just like, hey, my name's Dan, and I'm trying to get a band together, and someone told me to talk to you. And then we started talking.
Okay.
How do you remember it?
How do I remember it?
I want to know.
Okay. So regarding the open mic at Frets, I can't remember timelines because that like it's all a blur, because there was a time in my life where like I would go there every single Wednesday and play, and I can't remember how long I was doing that before I met you. I don't think there was ever one moment like that was just like there's no memory in my head of like when I first met you. I'm being honest.
I'm just kidding. It's fine.
Well, maybe,
now, so.
But like not like a real proper introduction. I think I was there. And how I know you is actually through our friend Casey.
Oh, yeah.
Because
yeah.
One of my friends, Casey, who we've been going to the open mic all the time, and we would always go every week. And I guess that when he was in high school, you both worked at McDonald's.
Yeah.
So that's how he introduced me to you. He's like, "Hey, this is Dan. I worked with him at McDonald's a bunch of years back." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So, and then I think I remember I was like taking drum lessons at the time.
Okay.
And you're like, "Oh, I want someone to be in a band." I'm like, "Oh, I should try and play drums." And I think that because I asked you like what kind of music you played, and you're like folk rock and stuff like that. That's what you described what you wanted to do.
That's kind of what I was doing at the time, because when I go solo acoustic, which was what I was doing, I tend to lean towards those folkier sort of chord progressions.
Right.
So.
And then at the time, I was actually playing in another band called Off Key, German spelled AUFKI. I played with them for a while, and you were like wanting to start a band. And it was getting to the point where like we were playing every weekend, like out in Milwaukee and Appleton. And then you always just kind of said like, hey, if you ever like, we would like go to there's a different bar called Gasoline. I remember a couple times I've seen you there.
Mm-hmm.
And like you would approach me like, "Hey, I'm still looking to start a band if you're interested."
That sounds about right. And I'm pushy, and we're like, "Hey, man, like, come on, like, let's do this."
And then I think a couple months passed after that, and then in Off Key, our singer quit, and then I'm not a huge fan of punk music. It was just kind of like an opportunity. It was my first band, and they wanted me to play, and I was like, oh, I'll take any opportunity because I just wanted to play music. Mm-hmm. So I joined up with this punk band, and then our singer quit, and then I'm like, this is going to be too much work to like, I don't want to like find a new singer and go through all that like practicing again. And the gigs just didn't pay at all. Actually, the guy didn't pay us at all. It was like punk gigs. During punk gigs, like it's like 5 bands for like 3 or 4 hours, and you all play for maybe like 40 minutes. 40 minutes. You play your 11 song set, 2 minutes each song, and you do that. And then they're like, yeah, we were paying the band like $40.
Yeah.
Like $40 as a band, and that would just cover gas. So everyone in the band's just kind of doing it for fun. And then I always had it in my head like because I've seen you play, and I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to play with you. And then I think you had like a solo gig at Hagermeister.
Yep.
And then you invited me to, you're like, I could really use some bass, learn these songs. And then you gave me like 3 hours of songs to learn. And then I locked myself in my basement and learned them all in like 3 days. Actually, I learned half of them. I remember like, I was like,
I'm not so comfortable on this one. Yeah.
I let you play the first half, and then I came on the second half because I was like, okay, put all the songs that I know in your second half. And then we played that.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And that was a fun gig. Like I had a lot of fun. Like we just play like a lot of like 90s covers and like just fun songs. Punk was just too much. Like I feel like I had to be like on cocaine every gig. Like it's just like, you know, everything's in punk time. So it's just like go, fast. Everything has to be 1000% at all times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, here I can just chill back, play the bass. Well, you know, Dan, just like accompany rather than I mean, I do like getting high energy, but like the whole gig. And then also you gave me like $70 to play, and I'm like, ooh. And you're like, I got paid to play music.
It was $40 between the entire band before, and we had to travel to get to the gig, and we played for 20 minutes. Now I played for like 30, got $70. This is a good deal. And again, like it's never really about the money, like when it comes to music, but like, yeah,
it's nice.
It is nice. It's nice to feel like I feel accomplished as a musician. Yeah. I'm going out and playing a gig and getting paid.
Just don't tell venues that you would be willing to pay for free. You would like go around the city and like pester people and be like, "Hey, we're a band." Like, all right, what kind of music do you play? Everything. We're a variety band.
Yeah, it's hard. You go, well, we play pop tunes like between the 70s and today. Yeah. You know? And it's like, and then we have some original music, and you're just kind of like shuffle, like you're like kind of like kicking your feet. It's weird. It's a weird feeling because we weren't really established at that point.
No, and we're both socially awkward, so it's just, you know.
Now I feel like I've gained a certain level of confidence, and like the last couple times I went and talked to people, I was just like, yeah, like I've done this before.
Well, I think that's it. So, it's like once you've done it before, and like you know, you kind of learn your value as you go. Like you can, I mean, you know, when you like are dog shit or you had a dog shit show, Like you're playing there, everyone's once the crowd leaves and it's like just your friends who are there.
You're just like, good job,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh god,
I couldn't hear a goddamn thing.
So I had to bring it up because you did mention Casey's name again, and when you first said that, I was like, oh yeah, I have to mention this. So when Casey and I met at McDonald's, so he, at the time I was like 17, 18, and he was like 14 or something. He was young. He was really little.
Well, yeah, he was
That's the
14.
thing.
Yeah, he's young.
He was little. And so I always remembered being taller than him. So when I met him again, I recognized his face, but I didn't recognize it was weird because he at the time he had really short hair, and then he had really long hair when I met him the second time. And so he goes, Dan Starry. And you ever have one of those moments where you go, oh like this person knows my name and like they look really familiar, but I don't know. I can't put a
don't you hate that?
Name
like
to the face.
When someone says, Nick Matsky, how's it going, man?
I've learned to not feel bad about it because at the end of the day, like, you know, you either get along and you're friends or you don't. And
when I do it to other people and they don't remember me, I don't really take offense.
Exactly.
But I had like one time I was going to one of the downtown bars and I went through the back door and it was really busy. Mm-hmm. And this guy just like that, he's like, Nick Matsky, what's up? And I shook his hand and we just stared at each other. I'm like, and he's like, it's fine, just go. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that's a bit aggressive.
How's it going, man?
Oh my gosh, it's been like forever. I can't remember the last time.
I don't try to pretend. I'm upfront and I'm honest, and I'm like, ooh, it's been years, man. It actually just happened last Thursday. Someone came up. I played an open mic at Rockabilly's, and this guy comes up to me. He's like, "You got like a tip jar or something?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he gave me $20. I'm
Yeah.
very thankful. That was very nice of him. And he's like, "No, you don't remember who I am, do you?" I'm like, "Nope." And he's like, "We played soccer in high school." I'm like, oh, I mean, since high school, how am I supposed to recognize you?
Yeah,
But
I don't know. And that's the thing too, is some people just have insane memory, or they have certain skills that maybe you don't possess, like, or you have a memory for certain things. Like people will always say, like, how do you remember like so many songs or do this or that? It's like, that's just how my brain works. Music has a profound impact on me and my memory.
Well, I think too is
some people with names.
You know, the person running the open mic was like, Nick Matsky, everyone, and the guy's like, oh, that's Nick.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. We'll be right back.
We are rolling.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about was, what was your first influence musically? And I think I already know the answer, but not everybody knows the answer to that. And even go back, like,
John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi? Okay, I didn't know that.
No, that was like my childhood, like, you know, when you're like 7 years old and you don't know what good music is. Actually, Bon Jovi's all right, but you know, the song "It's My Life" came out and it was like on TRL.
It's my life.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really like that song. And I was like, we were at Best Buy one time,
It's
like,
a banger.
the album Crush came out, and I'm like, buy me that album. And I was a huge Bon Jovi fan for like a year when I was like 7.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Is it inspiration of liking music or inspiration of playing music?
So I was gonna go both, because so for me, like, very musical household. So like my dad played the guitar when I was younger. So like if we want to go way back, like that was the first thing that was like really cool to me. Like watching my dad sing and play guitar was like, you know, super cheesy, but it's like, I want to be like dad, you know, like, I don't know. But anyways, listened to a lot of Eagles, Paul Simon and stuff like that. So that influenced me, but at a young age, you know, you're not picking the music you listen to. So it's like, that's kind of what was fed to me. I listened to a lot of pop music. So like, I didn't have a good taste for music because my first CD that I ever owned was a Baha Men CD. So
A what?
Baha Men. Who let the dogs out?
Oh, yes.
the only like known song on the album, you know, that kind of a thing. So anyways, but then, you know, in middle school, I guess is when I started to actually listen to other stuff, and you know, had friends who listened to stuff. It's like, this is what I listen to, and like my brothers or sisters got me into this music, and then that's when I kind of discovered punk and like listened to Green Day, and I think Green Day was the first band. Well, it was kind of like Good Charlotte was more accessible right before I got to listening to Green Day. It was like that was like the big thing, and they were on TRL and all that stuff, so I would listen to a lot of that. But then when I finally got my first Green Day CD, it was Green Day International Super Hits, and it was funny. There's a story to this. It's really great. I would look at the lyric booklets and sit down and put my headphones on with my Sony Walkman, and I would just sit there and read the lyrics and just listen the whole time. I would read all the lyrics to every song, and their song Geek Stink Breath, I remember going to my parents not knowing what some of the lyrics meant. And it's funny because the line goes, I'm on a roll, no self-control. I'm blowing off steam with methamphetamine. But like the way the syllables are off, right? So I don't know what methamphetamine is or how to pronounce it. So I go up to my parents and I'm like, what's methamphetamine? And they're like, where did you hear that? Because there was no parental advisory sticker, because
Right.
it was like a collection of songs,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't an album. When albums come out, there's the parental advisory sticker, but when they have a compilation, there's a weird bypass. So when I went to buy it, like with my dad, my mom's like, go with him to the store, make sure that there's like no parental advisory sticker on it or something like that. And there wasn't, so I got it. I got to be exposed to music that my parents didn't want me to listen to.
And exposed to meth.
So yeah, no, that was the beginning of me actually kind of discovering myself musically, and like starting to like actually learn to play guitar, and those were some of my first songs that I learned. So I guess that would be my next
What
question.
age did you start?
I started. What age did you start? No, yeah, the strings got me at age. I think I was like, I was 14. I think. Oh, yeah, it was the summer.
don't remember?
It was the summer, 2004. So I was 14, and yeah, I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't have lessons right away. We just went to the shop, got a guitar, and they started me on lessons, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I immediately was so stoked on that, because we didn't have an electric guitar in the house ever. Like, we just had acoustics. So I had the amp and the cord and the guitar, and I would just sit in the basement and like mess around with
Turn the gain up to 10
it. just crank that baby
and play power
that's it.
chords. And you're like, oh yeah, this sounds awesome. And now that your ear's more refined to like what a good guitar sound is, you're like, oh, that's tinny and shit. You're like, sounds like garbage. Those Line 6 amps.
Yeah.
But okay, so you were gonna ask me a question now.
So then, yes, what got you into actually wanting to play guitar? Because you started on guitar.
Well, to play guitar, okay. Do you remember the video game Guitar Hero?
Of course. Yeah.
It's kind of an obscure game. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like one of those 10 out of 10
You're right.
on IGN or.
But anyway, my brother bought Guitar Hero the first one for the PS2, and you know, I like music, but I didn't actually start paying. I didn't actually know, like, I don't know. I think like people who don't play music, like they don't some people can't separate like the instruments. Like music is one like continuous thing, or I don't know, it's all melded into this thing, and like people really can't pick apart the instruments.
Yeah.
And like I actually know where they're coming from, because I was kind of like that until Guitar Hero actually came out, and actually started like listening to the music and being like, oh, like that's the guitar sound.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm not
because-
retarded, I promise you.
No. I know. I get what you're saying, because the thing is that everything is all condensed into like one track. When you're listening to a completed, product, like with a band, it's all the elements are there. So when something goes away or is present, it's like it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
happen often where a lot of things come like a solo is very obvious. You're like, oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's the guitar. But like what you're saying is like even with rhythm parts, it's kind of like things kind of blend a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because
But
it's
I
the
think
accompaniment.
Guitar
but-
Hero, because like I like worked my way up to expert, and
Yeah.
like that, you know, after you're playing those songs, you hear that like you get like certain rhythms in your hand that like you think this is the guitar part that's going. Like when you get to like expert, like I almost felt like a connection with like the notes and kind of how it's supposed to sound,
Mhm.
and I'm like, you know, I felt like I could play guitar and do that.
Yeah.
So I play guitar and yeah, I don't know. That's like that. I would play Guitar Hero. Like I would be the guy fucking just like dancing around and fucking like doing all like the moves. Cause like I just wanted to be a rock star. It made you feel like a rock star. It feels great.
Yeah, it's fun. I always loved like especially when Rock Band came out because that was like a really like now we can all play
Mhm.
together. Like it's like, oh, you have all the instruments. That was like super
Yeah.
exciting when you had a friend who was like, because you get the microphone and guitar and drums, I think. But then like some people would also have a bass or something, and it's like, shit, we got a 4-piece now, and you would just sit there and rock out, and you'd be like. There's always one guy who's just like he would not switch off the instrument. He was just like, "No, I'm the drummer. I play the drums." And you're like, "But I want to turn on the drums." And he's like,
But anyway, I actually didn't own a guitar until I was 21. So like that middle school, I always dreamed about playing guitar or playing an instrument because like I don't know if it hits me differently. I don't know if there's actually a thing with like certain like music hits people differently or like people who are like inclined to move towards music if it's like a genetic thing that we're different. I don't know.
I have no idea.
But like I felt like I really needed to play guitar or play music
did
cuz
you
like
listen to a lot of music like in middle school or high school? Or...
it did start in middle school.
Okay.
Like I listened to Bon Jovi when I was like a kid and then I didn't really listen to music. You know, that phase kind of went. And then probably until 7th grade or something like that, like my brother gave me a Genesis album. And I was like, a greatest hits Genesis album. Well, fucking middle schooler listens to like 80s Genesis. I don't know, but I did.
That's awesome though.
So where was I going with this?
I don't know exactly. We were talking about genetics and stuff like that.
Oh.
I think it's so for me. It's always been more of like a nurture nature thing because like I know people. So I teach guitar. So a lot of my
Right.
students, you know, their idea of music, especially nowadays, is like rap or pop. So it's like they come in and they're like, "Can I learn this song?" I'm like, "Well, I can like figure out the vocal melody and translate it to guitar, but it's kind of like 5 notes and it's really boring." And I'm like, "What about this like rock riff?" You know, and then they're like,
Do 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 do.
"Eh, no, whatever." And I'm like, ugh. But then there's kids who grew up in a household where, you know, they play like even if it's not records, they play CDs or they have like their parents listen to a lot or a wide variety of music. And so they're exposed to like a library of music at a very young age, and then your ear just kind of tunes into that. The repetition. Repetition. That's anything that we do, right? So like when you hear things over and over again, you develop an ear for music.
Okay.
And I think some people just are seriously not surrounded by music a lot, and people don't actively listen. So that's where the
Well, active listening. I don't think the majority of the people actually actively listen.
yeah.
Because I've had friends come to my gigs and I'm like, so like, could you hear the bass at all?
And they're like,
And they're like, what is that sound? The bass, dude. It's the low end. You know what the bass sounds like? So like, they're not actually listening to it. It's all one thing for some people. Like, they just listen to. It's just like a melting pot. It's like America.
It they don't have they don't have the ability to pick apart and analyze something because they haven't studied it. Is essentially what it is. Like to them, it's like you said, it's
I don't
all
even
one.
study it.
It's all one thing though. So, I guess what I was gonna say was like, you know how when you you enter a room or something and something feels off, but you don't know what it is, and some person might tell you like,
Ghosts.
"Oh, I know, like it's the feng shui. Like if you move that over there," and then all of a sudden, like you're like, "Wow, that's like so much more comforting that things are like in the right spot." But maybe you don't know anything about organizing your room or something. But like,
Are you criticizing my room?
no.
When I was filming yesterday, I was filming my friend's mom, and she was doing like a cooking thing,
Yeah.
and she had like this display of spoons, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, turn that spoon. Like there was just one spoon that was like, I just wanted her to turn that
It was
spoon. It
cockeyed.
was just bothering me. No, it wasn't even cockeyed. It was like the rest of the spoons made like this like shape, and then there was this one that was like ruining the shape, and then like when you're looking at her, my eye kept like looking
Yeah.
at that stupid spoon instead of looking at her.
And
it's
it's
really funny.
And it's weird though, but some people do have eyes for certain details and stuff. So that's what I was trying to get at. Is like,
Oh yeah.
I don't
See, I'm the
ear
opposite.
detail.
I'm the
So-
opposite. Like if a picture's crooked in a room, I'm like, like it doesn't bother me. It's just it's an imperfection, whatever. But like some people are like really like in my own house, they'll like fix just like barely off.
Yeah.
They'll fix a picture, and I'm like, was that really bothering you?
Yeah.
And some people it does, but not me.
But
You're doing it so you owe them.
you would you or would
That's
you
a beer.
would you or would you not say that you are a bit of an ear critic? Like
And-
you can hear if you hear slight imperfections, you're like, I just really wish that was to someone else. They would be in your shoes as far as the picture thing went, right? Like
Yeah.
they'd just be like, I don't really see what's wrong here. And then, but you do have an ear for detail when it comes to music, which isn't a bad thing. It's good to be like very precise about things sometimes. So it's like whatever your craft is and what you like, and that's kind of what we're getting down to is like. I kind of wanted to talk about
But was
getting
that
into music.
was I born like that? Am I born this way?
Hashtag
now
born this
whoever's
way.
listening to this, like they just heard like us play, and they're like, "Dude, this guy f***ing sucks," and he thinks he's good at music. Who does this guy out on this podcast think he is talking about? Am I born to like music? He f***ing sucks. Just kidding. That's self-criticism. Now I'll shut up.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying though. It's the criticism thing. Yeah, no, as an artist, everyone has that.
Right.
Yeah, I could go ahead and pick apart our performance right now. If you, I'm just kidding.
We want to talk about it.
All right, so two polite strangers on a couch, on a couch, singing a tune. When you grab a hold of me, tell me that I'll never be set free. I'm a parasite, creep and crawl, I step into the night. 2 pints of booze. Tell me, are you a bad fish too? Ain't got no money to spend. I know the night will never end. Lord knows I'm weak. Won't somebody give me up for this reef? Baby, you're a big blue whale. Grab the reef when all duck diving fails. I swim, but I wish I'd never learned. Water's too polluted with germs. I dive deep when it's 10 feet overhead. Grab the reef from underneath my bed. Ain't got no quarrels with God. Got no time to grow. Lord knows I'm weak. Won't somebody give me up of this reef? Ain't got no quarrels with God. Ain't got no time to grow. Lord knows I'm weak. Won't somebody give me up of this reef?
Actually, for if anyone's actually watching this, Dan couldn't hear what I'm playing at all.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear
So,
any of it.
Timing, I had to play along with him, so it wasn't ideal situations, and
No,
we let the mistakes go and said, fuck it. Like, it's just a live performance.
I'm the one supposed to be monitoring, and I didn't even have headphones, so like it was really a
Oh, yeah.
it was a Hail Mary performance.
This is the green screen is the saving grace of this podcast here, because we're running on like a budget. Like, if you're looking around at
Dragon.
basketball, a Furby.
Right. All right. A, B, C. It's easy.
You're
as
really
1,
making this hard
2,
for me.
3. Robbie.
Like,
Robbie hates that.
Furby, there's just none. We're like, we'll replace later.
In this one podcast, Dan was like, and there will be a letter right here, and then like he like looked at me and he goes, and then I said, you think there's a letter right there?
Yeah, what's behind us? What's usually behind? Is it like that picture of Green Bay? Like the one in the video right here?
I can put whatever you want back there.
Can it be the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do like it flying through space or something.
No, like in the cockpit.
Oh,
Like we're in the cockpit,
Oh.
like when they're
yeah.
Going into warp drive.
No, like the picture or the scenes in like Empire Strikes Back where it's just like, Han
Han
Luke.
Solo and Chewie.
Yeah, and Chewie and
so
Leia
we're
and stuff
sitting
like that
in- So we're
cockpit.
sitting in it.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
in the Millennium Falcon talking.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Wow, I feel so much more important now that I'm Falcon.
But now we are. Before we were somewhere else. I don't know how we'll edit this, but anyway, what were we talking about?
Well, we're heading to the next solar system.
Are we talking about music still?
Well, okay, so I was honestly a little bit surprised. So first of all, we went way back, and then you told me about young Nick getting into Bon Jovi. So that was cool. I'm glad I got to learn that little bit.
Yep.
Also loved that song when that came out.
This Polite Strangers production.
We're polite strangers.
We are polite strangers. So we just did a podcast. This is Nick's first podcast, so that's nice. I want to thank Robbie for doing all this work.
I am
for
the
us.
producer.
Robbie is the producer.
Is this his first appearance with a real mic?
No. I normally use this mic, but I have no battery for it.
Oh, okay.
So like it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing this. I was very uncomfortable at first, but I think as the beers kept on coming in, I was definitely I definitely warmed up to this,
We're just having fun.
but don't give us a 1-star review, whatever you do.
Dislike.
we're just bros, broing out.
Try to
Thank
like
you
just
all.
blacklist us and
Shadow
never.
ban us.
Yeah. We don't want you to listen to us ever.
Yeah.
We're terrible.
No. Why? What's with the self-deprecating talk?
Yeah, that got dark there at the end.
No, we're just bringing it back around. It's a joke.
It's going full
No,
circle.
seriously. If you are actually watching this and listening to this, thank you. We appreciate you. This is fun to do. So.
Oh, and because we're talking about our band, Polite Strangers.
Polite Strangers.
Where can you find us?
You can find us on Facebook at politestrangersband.com, or
We have like a song on Spotify.
we do have a song on Spotify. And
Maybe an album
there
at
will-
some
There will
point.
be an album up soon.
Yes.
Shout out to
I'm just poor.
Bad Taxidermy.
Oh yeah, I have another band, but we just play locally and we play covers. It's called Bad Taxidermy, which you just shouted out.
Would you like to say anything about Bad Taxidermy? Would you
Uh,
like to talk about that for a little bit?
It's just kind of a cover band with my friend Casey.
We should get Casey for a podcast.
Yeah, no, Casey's coming on the podcast.
Yeah,
We can always podcast at your house too.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Like we could do either or. It doesn't matter.
he'll be entertainment. Trust me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Casey's a storyteller.
Yeah.
It's good.
But yeah, I think it's at Bad Tax. I don't really do. One of the other guys does all the.
It's at bad. It's at bad. I could pull it up. I'll hold your hand up, Nick, please. Thank you.
Like we'll do it
Yes,
together.
and here's our logo, and here's our raccoon.
You'll have to send me that raccoon.
You can find the. Oh yeah, I'll send you the picture.
Okay.
You just gotta click this link.
If I can make that happen, I can do it.
Okay.
It'll happen.
All right. Yeah.
We're learning things.
Yeah, we're learning. This is all I'll do.
This is experiments.
Yeah.
But if any of you are listening and in Green Bay, search Bad Taxidermy and come watch us play and play
They're fun.
strangers and
Polite Strangers, Bad Taxidermy.
yes. I've been told okay names.
Names.